Petersburg is on fire, a city that once stood as a proud symbol of Russia's strength, now shaken by flames, chaos, and disbelief. The unthinkable has happened. Ukraine has managed to launch a massive strike deep inside Russia's borders, and despite Moscow's promises of safety and control, the defense system has failed at the very heart of Russia's second-largest city. This event is not just another strike in the ongoing conflict. It is a turning point, a shocking revelation of how fragile Russia's defenses truly are when pushed to their limits. Hello, everyone. Welcome back to the Future X USA channel. So, please don't forget to subscribe and like my videos as we dive deep into this unbelievable story. The summary of the story is simple yet devastating. In the dead of night, waves of Ukrainian drones and missiles targeted St. Petersburg, hitting industrial zones, fuel depots, and even residential areas. Fires broke out across multiple districts, and the images that followed were nothing short of apocalyptic. Russia, despite its claims of advanced defense, struggled to intercept the incoming barrage. Panic spread across the population as sirens wailed, and citizens realized that Moscow's promises of absolute security were only words. For the first time in this war, St. Petersburg felt the heat of destruction directly, and the consequences could ripple across Russia for years to come. From the outside, the exterior of this disaster paints a terrifying picture. The skyline of St. Petersburg, once glowing with lights from palaces, cathedrals, and modern skyscrapers, was lit instead by fire and smoke. Massive plumes rose into the night sky, blocking out the stars and casting an eerie red glow across the Neva River. Eyewitnesses reported seeing flames stretch for blocks as entire storage facilities and fuel tanks burned uncontrollably. The fire brigades, overwhelmed by the scale of destruction, struggled to contain the infernos, while secondary explosions rattled the ground. To those looking from afar, the exterior was more than just buildings burning. It was the image of Russia's vulnerability, captured in every spark and ember floating above the city. On the inside, the interior reality of this strike was even more terrifying. Families huddled in basements, children crying as the sound of explosions echoed through their neighborhoods. Apartment windows shattered from shockwaves, sending glass flying into living rooms. The once peaceful interiors of Russian homes turned into shelters of fear. Power outages left large sections of the city in darkness, and for hours people were disconnected from the outside world, relying only on rumors, whispers, and the distant glow of flames to understand what was happening. The short but terrifying experience inside those homes showed ordinary Russians what Ukrainians have lived with for years: uncertainty, fear, and the haunting knowledge that nowhere is truly safe. If we look at the performance of Russia's defense systems during this attack, the results are deeply concerning for Moscow. Russia has repeatedly boasted about its S-400s, its radar systems, and its layered protection around major cities. But performance under pressure was far weaker than expected. Dozens of drones made it through. Some missiles found their marks. Interceptions happened, yes, but not enough to prevent massive destruction. Analysts believe that Ukraine deliberately stretched Russian air defenses by attacking in waves, overwhelming their capacity. Performance on paper may look impressive, but in practice, when tested by coordinated and relentless strikes, Russia's system showed cracks. The world now sees that Moscow's promise of invincibility was exaggerated, and Ukraine proved that even the heart of Russia can be reached. When it comes to safety features, one would expect Russia to have prepared St. Petersburg, its cultural capital, with the best possible civil defense measures. Yet ordinary citizens quickly realized those safety features were limited or even absent. Bomb shelters from Soviet times were either sealed, forgotten, or unequipped. Sirens sounded late in some districts, giving people only seconds to react. Mobile networks crashed under the surge of panic calls. Emergency services rushed to the scenes, but traffic jams blocked fire trucks from reaching burning fuel sites quickly. For ordinary Russians, the so-called safety features turned out to be An illusion. They were left on their own to protect their families in a city that suddenly felt like a war zone. The unique selling points of this story, if we analyze it like a product that Russia tries to sell to its own people and the world, lie in the false promises of strength. For years, Moscow has marketed its military might, its advanced missiles, and its unbreakable defenses as proof of its global power. But the strike on St. Petersburg exposed that those selling points are hollow. The city that was supposed to be untouchable burned. The myth of absolute control shattered. On the other side, Ukraine demonstrated its own unique selling point: resilience and ingenuity. With fewer resources and under immense pressure, Ukraine has developed ways to strike far, to adapt technology, and to force its enemy into constant defense. While Russia sells fear, Ukraine shows determination. And that contrast may reshape not just the battlefield, but the way the world views this war. When we talk about the price, it is not about numbers on a bill. It is about the cost paid in lives, in trust, and in an international reputation. The price Russia pays for failing to protect St. Petersburg is massive. Domestically, people will begin questioning whether Moscow can defend them at all. Confidence in the government's strength weakens each time a major city is struck. Internationally, allies who counted on Russia's image of invulnerability may begin to doubt. Economically, the damage is staggering. Fuel depots, factories, and warehouses are worth billions, and their destruction pushes the Russian economy deeper into crisis. Meanwhile, the price for Ukraine is risk of retaliation, escalation, and further suffering. But it is a price they are clearly willing to pay to send the message that nowhere in Russia is beyond their reach. As we draw toward the conclusion of this story, the symbolism cannot be ignored. St. Petersburg is not just another Russian city. It is a city of history, of empire, of culture, and of identity. To see it burning is to see Russia's pride wounded in a way that words can hardly capture. The failure to stop the massive strike is more than just a military embarrassment. It is a psychological blow. For Russians, it is a reminder that the war they once thought distant has arrived at their doorstep. For Ukrainians, it is proof that resilience and determination can turn the tide against a larger enemy. And for the world, it is a sign that this conflict is entering a new, more dangerous stage. The flames in St. Petersburg are not just burning buildings, they are burning illusions, burning propaganda, and burning away the myths that Russia built around its invincibility. The story of this strike will echo far beyond the smoldering ruins, shaping strategy, politics, and the future of the war itself. And as we look at the destruction, one haunting truth remains. When safety collapses, when performance fails, when promises are exposed, the real price is always paid by the people caught in the middle. So stay tuned as we continue to follow this dramatic story. St. Petersburg burns, Russia fails, and the war that was once at the edge of Europe has now truly come home to the heart of Russia. Thank you for watching, and don't forget to like, share, and subscribe for more updates here on Future X USA.